Good morning, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It is so good to see you all. Is anybody new here for the first time? Welcome. We are so glad to have you. Any of us who looks like we know what we're doing would be happy to answer your questions after the service. And if we don't know, we'll tell you. My name is Tong San. I'm one of the teachers here. And I have been falling in love all over again with one of the sutras in our tradition. And if you've been here in August, you know which one it is. It's the Diamond Sutra. If you were here in August, you heard me talk about it. Let me move this up. I'm still in love with it. More than in love, deeply grateful. I have seen it, because I've seen its wisdom in action in my life in the past few weeks. If you've never heard me gush about the diamond, you need a couple of words of introduction. The Diamond Sutra is one of the great Mahayana sutras. It was probably composed around the 2nd century of the Common Era in India. It is in the same family as the much shorter and very beautiful Heart Sutra. It is forbidding at first. 1, it's not short. And 2, it makes no sense at all. It contradicts itself. It contradicts itself over and over. It contradicts itself on purpose. For example, beings are said by the Buddha to be no beings. That is why they're called beings. Say what? The diamond contradicts itself on purpose to jolt us out of our usual ways of thinking. My usual ways of thinking often cause me a lot of suffering. The Buddha called that dukkha, unsatisfactoriness. I have no words to tell you how good it is to be jolted out of that suffering and those ways of thinking. But I'm going to try. So here's the passage that in the past couple of weeks has helped me out of a cage of self-made dukkha, self-made suffering. A bodhisattva who gives a gift should not be supported by a thing, nor should they be supported anywhere. A bodhisattva who gives a gift should not be supported by sight objects, sounds, smells, tastes, touchables, or objects of mind. You might know that in our tradition, the bodhisattva is the model to which we all aspire. The being who has resolved not to stop working to be reborn again and again and again until all beings are liberated from their suffering. So in our tradition, the bodhisattva is the model for our life and for our practice. We will vow to live as bodhisattvas at the end of this service. So that's what the diamond and the Buddha here is speaking. That's what he's talking about when he says a bodhisattva who gives a gift. That means all of us, when we give gifts, should not be supported by a thing. So the biggest gift that the bodhisattva gives, as you'll see in those vows that we end the service with, is the gift of liberation for all beings. And that is, of course, huge and impossible. So we aspire to give little gifts all the time, every day, in every exchange with other beings. The diamond says that these acts of giving should be unsupported. And it wouldn't say that if it didn't think we needed to hear it. It obviously thinks that we need to hear this, that if we give it all, we usually give supported by something outside the act of giving itself. Like we need a crutch to give. Here's the quote again. A bodhisattva who gives a gift should not be supported by a thing, nor should they be supported anywhere. A bodhisattva who gives a gift should not be supported by sight objects, sounds, smells, tastes, touchables, or objects of mind. Supported giving is giving with an agenda. Giving in order to see something, hear something, smell something, taste something, get something back, feel a certain way. This last is the one that I'm especially prone to. Giving supported by mind objects. Giving in order to feel good. In order to sustain some idea that I'm attached to. So now I need to tell you a story. Can I tell you a story? Okay. I teach literature at the U, up the hill. Teaching is really important to me. I think of it as an act of, as giving, as repeated acts of giving. Sharing the joy of conversation, my classes are usually small, of ideas, of art. Sometimes I think I'm pretty good at it. That idea that I'm pretty good at it is the kind of mind object that the Buddha says can get in the way of real giving. And he's right. I can tell you from my own experience. This happens to me over and over and over again. I have to relearn it every single darn time. I have been having trouble connecting with one of my classes this semester. Things that usually create the kind of community that I aspire to just didn't seem to work. The students didn't talk, or if they did, what they said seemed off base in a way that I didn't understand. I felt like I was groping around in the dark trying to find them when they were sitting right in front of me. This is the kind of thing that drives teachers crazy. I mentioned it to my colleagues and they went, "Oh yeah, I hate it when that happens." I chewed on it and chewed on it and chewed on it. Every class meeting made it worse. Or rather, every class meeting, I made it worse. I'd be chewing on, what's wrong with them? No, wait, what's wrong with me? I'd be chewing on that so hard that I wasn't fully present in a class that I was theoretically leading. And all the while, I knew that I was causing myself suffering. So I leaned deep into the diamond. It's my study focus for this semester, so you're going to hear a lot about it. I leaned deep into the diamond, and my study is to memorize it. So I just hurled myself at it. And I almost, really the recitations that I do every day were really like prayers. So I was really praying as I recited it. And this line in particular, a bodhisattva who gives a gift should not be supported by a thing, nor should they be supported anywhere. A bodhisattva who gives a gift should not be supported by a thing, nor should they be supported anywhere. The bodhisattva who gives a gift should not be supported by a thing, nor should they be supported anywhere. One day last week, as I was doing dishes, I had an insight, just out of nowhere. I wrote it down right away so that I wouldn't forget. Here's what I wrote. It's always about clinging and not seeing what actually is. It's always about clinging. And yeah, no duh. That's where the suffering comes from. That's the second noble truth. The cause of suffering. The first noble truth is there is suffering. The second is the cause of suffering is clinging, craving. It's always about clinging. So yeah, I do think of teaching as part of the bodhisattva path. But the gift I was trying to give had so many cables attached to it, not even strings, but cables. It had so many cables attached to it that it was more like a cage than a gift, at least for me. The students may well have thought that everything was fine. I was so tangled up in the cage of my mind objects that I probably wasn't reading their responses well. It's always about clinging and not seeing what actually is. I told myself, let go, let go, let go. And I tried. I tried in class, I tried in my meditation practice, I tried in my walks, I tried in my recitation. And then a day later, I got another insight, and I wrote that one down too on the same scrap of paper. So they're right there next to each other. And the second insight was there's always more to let go of. Always. Even when your meditation practice is about letting go, even when you think you've let go, there's always more to let go of. And that's what the diamond is about too, and maybe someday I'll talk to you about that. There's always more to let go of. Let go of being the teacher with a capital T. Any gift that teacher with a capital T gives will be at least in part supported by the mind object behind that capital T. So, Tong San, put down that capital T. So I told the students on Tuesday, this week, that the next time we met, Thursday, that the class would be theirs to lead. And that I'd be silent and not speak unless they asked me to. And if I urgently had something I wanted to say, I would raise my hand and not speak unless they called on me. We did that this past Thursday, and it was wonderful. I can actually feel the tears starting as I tell you that. They led their own class. They talked to each other. They didn't talk about all the things that I would have steered them toward if I was in charge, but that didn't matter. It wasn't about me at all. Thank heaven. The mind objects that were tying up the gifts I was trying so hard, too hard, perhaps, to give, were totally irrelevant. And I was able to do what I wanted to do from the depth of my being, which was to listen to them and to see the gifts that they were giving each other. I don't have words to tell you what a profound experience this was. If I tell you any more, I will cling to it, and that'll screw up my teaching next week. The story is not about me. It's about the diamond. It's about the Dharma. Right? One who gives a gift should not be supported by a thing, nor should they be supported anywhere. And it's about the second noble truth. Suffering is something I do to myself because I'm clinging and craving. Suffering is always about clinging and not seeing what actually is. My usual ways of thinking often cause me suffering. The diamond jolts me out of those mind habits. And again, I have no words to tell you how good it is to be jolted out of those mind habits, out of those ways of thinking. It's a liberation from suffering, a little one, but lots of little ones reduce our suffering, which help us reduce the suffering of other beings. So I have no words to tell you how good it is to be jolted out of those usual ways of thinking. And when we get out of the way, even for a moment, and see what actually is, the suffering reduces just enough so that we can see a little more clearly and give a little more freely and take one more step on the Bodhisattva path. And now we have time for discussion, questions, observations, contributions.
I'm just so grateful to hear about the Diamond Sutra. I missed your last talk about the Diamond Sutra. Thank you.
You brought up letting go. And today I was gonna go to the cemetery because of family issues that I've been holding on to for a very, very long time. I'm not sure what the process of letting go really is because it has consumed my whole life, and I'm just going to go with it. Whatever it is, right? Any suggestions would be helpful.
Every year we have a ritual we did a couple weeks ago called Ulambana, that is a service, a ritual designed to help us do exactly that and to support each other as we do it. It involves the whole community. That doesn't help you right now because we just did that service. I think this is all of us carry the weight of our families of origin. And that weight is for some of us very heavy. And I know that in my own experience, that karmic weight is something that often has turned into a razor that I grip. Even though I know that by gripping it, I'm hurting myself. The practice of meditation has helped me to unclench my hand because it teaches me compassion. for myself and for my family members. So I think that's a start, but I feel the inadequacy of my answer, and I bow to your question.
Good morning. My teacher once told me, he said the greatest gift is the gift of giving in regards to the Diamond Sutra. He said, young child, allow this lifetime to be an expression of the four great elements of earth, air, fire, and water. He said the sun gives up its light, its heat, and its warmth to the flower. And the flower give up its bright, brilliant colors and its sweet smelling fragrance to the sun. They give each other unconditionally. And I learned to live like that. A real quick story, Haju. I'm at the gas station, filling up my gas tank, and an older woman, I'm 73 now. An older woman approached me and said, Sonny, now, if I'm 73 and she called me Sonny, right? Can you possibly give me a ride to this destination, which is about a half mile away? She was on a cane, Haju, and she had her great granddaughter with her. And she approached me and asked me, could I take her there? And I'm blind. I said, yeah, come on. She got in the car and she put her great granddaughter in the car as well. And I took them to their destination. And when we arrived there and she got out, she kept thanking me over and over again. And when I pulled off, I teared up. Why? Because she trusted me, a complete and total stranger. And that's what the practice did for me. It gives off an aura. I don't want anything from you. I just want everything for you. With a sincere hope that you find what I already found. Serenity, peace, joy, happiness, courage, and wisdom. That's what this teaching does for all of us. Thank you very much.
Bodhi Svaha.
Thank you for those kind words to what you were saying. A kind and wise man once told me that we hold on to the poor images of the family members that we love. We don't think about the good times that we should be. My father, for example, I typically would think of him in a negative light after I lost him. And then somebody said, well, every day I would light an incense in honor of my loved family member, my father that I lost. And so every day I try to, I'm not always able to do it, but most days I will light an incense and I'll place it before a picture of my father. And then I'll remember the good moments and think of positive, good experiences that we had, because we had a number of them. And I always forget that because I never really think of it until I light that incense. And the more I think of those good experiences and those happy moments, the less the shame and guilt washes over me and leaves. And then I can start to think about the good times. And then maybe my father isn't stuck in that dark place anymore and they're coming to the light.
You know, I am constantly comparing the practice of meditation to weightlifting. In one way, it's critically the opposite of what you're trying to do. You want to let go of a heavy weight, but it's the same idea. If you want to lift a heavy weight, you start with a practice of letting go of the light weights. I can't tell you how to let go of the heavy weight, but I can tell you, for me at least, the practice of meditation you start with that practice of learning to let go of the lighter things. And as you can let go of lighter things, you get better at letting go of heavier and heavier things as you sit, and being calmer and calmer with heavier things. It is not an easy process. Just like weightlifting, it's not a linear process. It's a process. That is the most direct and straightforward obvious I can give it, is that it is like any other practice or technique. but it is that practice. It is literally training yourself to be able to do that. And eventually, one hopes you can deal with the larger letting goes. But to me, that is largely the immediate benefit of meditation.
Thank you. Every time I try to start up my meditation practice, I always get to that point where I realize there is more letting go to do. There's more letting go of the clinging, and so I wonder if, you know, and then I stop because it feels too daunting, and I wonder if, like, I guess this gentleman sort of answered the question a little bit, but like, does it ever get less daunting where, you know there's more to let go, but you just kind of, it feels a little lighter. Because every time I get into a meditation practice, I just feel like kind of pushing the rock up the hill, like, continually, and then, you know, it feels like too exhausting to keep up the practice. So this is what I'm trying to do, and I don't know. I wonder if it gets any easier or lighter, or, you know, how people keep it going.
I could just add one more thought to the weightlifting metaphor. I've never met anyone who could lift an infinite amount of weight.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think you probably do get better, but there's always more. There's always more work to do.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to what my friend was sharing earlier about his dad. I have my altar at home. I have a picture of my parents on my altar. And I light a candle and the incense for them in their honor and respect, because they facilitated this human birth. And this birth led me to the Buddhist temple. And I can't put it in words, what I learned through my practice. So yeah, no matter what my dad did or didn't do, he facilitated this birth, and this birth has value. Thank you.
Mine is in response to what you said. What I heard when you were describing your meditation practice was that you were pushing up a hill. And my offer to you is, like, what if you just let it stay at the bottom of the hill, you know? And you just know that it's there and it's fine. It's like, thank you for what you gave me when I needed it, but I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to just pop up this hill. You can chill right there. Yeah.
I think currently one thing I'm having difficulty in terms of letting go is the familiarity of the concepts or the ideas that I'm trying to let go. And so when there's moments of difficulty or moments of hardship, I feel like I can retreat back to those ideas that I'm trying to let go. And so I would like, I guess, any advice on trying to figure out, when things are difficult, how do I not retreat back to the familiarity of these concepts or ideas that I'm trying to let go of, I guess.
Well, the diamond is trying to intervene in exactly that way. So you could read the diamond, because it repeatedly says things that shock you out of your regular ways of thinking. Another thing is to get out in nature. Go for a walk. Pay attention to the water. Pay attention to the trees. But right now, I'm going to say the diamond. They are a girl's best friend, after all.
Hi. I think one of the things that we in like Western thought and orientation think too much about is figuring out new and different ways to armor ourselves for stuff. More of the stoic response. You know, how do we solve a problem? How do we convince ourselves that the thing that's troubling us shouldn't trouble us, as opposed to getting to the nature of just being troubled by the thing in the first place? And so much of the additive approach of just coming up with a new way to arm yourself against the thing that's troubling you, I think is misguided in a lot of ways. And the more I can strip away kind of just caring about it, letting go, like so many have talked about today, I think it's really essential. And I mean, how do you turn that into action? I mean, for me, one thing that works pretty effectively is trying to think each day when I wake up, when I start it, how do I do something today that sort of pushes forward that bodhisattva nature? How do I have some simple actionable thing? And it's often something as silly as, you know, trying to like locate the inner good in 3 people I talk to, or I mean any number of things, but looking at like the Eightfold Path and just trying to come up with something I can do. And I find on those days when I succeed with it, I walk around with more integrity, with more kindness, the ability to give freely to people, and I usually feel better at the end of those days. So kind of just giving without expecting anything in return. And thank you as always for your words today.
My partner for years had a bookmark from a used bookstore stuck to her fridge with a magnet. So this is a used bookstore. The bookmark said in big letters, "Thanks for letting go." And I don't have the bookmark anymore, but I have a picture of it. And it seems so apt to me because, you know, I mean, there are a lot of books that I've loved that are just sitting on my shelf. And I think I really ought to give those away. Give them to somebody else. So they're a weight. It's not a weight like, you know, like worry. It's not dukkha, but it is a weight. And it does feel good to pack those things up and take it to the secondhand bookstore, or put it, or, you know, book bomb somebody's little free library, give it to them. And that feeling, like, thanks for letting go, I think that's what that bookmark is getting at. But of course, it's also the other kind of letting go also feels good. And I will add to your question, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Shai, I'd add to Shai's point. I had another little insight that I didn't tell you about. It came right after the one that was, it's always about clinging and not seeing what actually is. The next insight that I had after that was, remember how much you learned the last time this happened. And I think that might, you know, that's a way of building on those little moments of liberation. When we get tangled up, it's like, remember how good it felt, how much you learned last time you let go. And now I think it's time for announcements. Announcements. Announcements.
Hey, well, I was going to make some tea for everyone, but now I think I'll just give some announcements. Oh, thank you. So I'm glad you're here for the first time. I'm glad you're here many times. Good to see you all. We have a bunch of announcements. Generally, we have kind of a generated script that, you know, that can tell you everything you need to know, but I can give you the highlights. So I'm just going to run through everything for you. Let's see. So in no particular order, there's an 8 p.m. online Sangha here. Is that on Sundays? On Sundays. It's online, actually, as well. I think, is it all online? All online. Family services, we had one last week. We're going to have one every month, every second Sunday of the month. And that's here, as usual. You may have seen before where we kind of have 2 different groups, the families and the adults, and then we go on our separate ways. So come as usual. You'll find everything you need. We have yoga classes, which started last Tuesday. They're also on Tuesdays, 6:30 to 8 here in this room. There's one thing on here. I'm not sure. Is it the Zen Lotus or the Lotus Sutra study group starting? It's not for a while. Okay. That'll be on a Tuesday too. Say again. Day of Mindfulness. That's coming up on November 28th. That's interesting. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I believe that's something along the lines of a one-day retreat. Gotcha. No, November 28th. Probably a Saturday. Introductory meditation courses are available now. Let's see, the first one must have already gotten started at September 11th, but it's Thursday evenings, 6:30 to 8:30. And I believe if you're interested, just get in contact with the temple and we'll figure out a way. Otherwise, there's always October 16th for the next one. Overnight beginners Zen retreat, sort of like the mindfulness day, but it's actually more a meditation class. And then it's basically from 7 p.m. on Fridays until noon on Saturdays. So there's an overnight component to it. And that's September 12th and 13th. And we have another one in December too. There's a big retreat coming, which is the Yangming Junction. And that is basically 4 nights here, the 9th of October till the 12th. It's another overnight format, but it's many, many nights. And we ask that if you want to come, let the temple know. And so we can all be prepared for your presence. And we should, I think, maybe try to have 2 nights minimum to show up. If otherwise, it's probably good to do a overnight retreat. And that will be here at the temple and in October. Then there's a winter version, which is probably, well, actually in 3 places, Toronto, Chicago, and Mexico City. And we do have rides to get to those locations if you're interested, as far as I know. And study groups coming up, we have Way of the Bodhisattva. That's different than the Lotus Sutra study. That's actually online, Thursdays, 9:15 a.m. to 10 a.m. And Recovery Dharma.
We'll meet at noon today in the Historic Hall, the yellow house next door in the library.
Very good. Yes, just head on up the steps and through the door. Ulansbana Day we had, as you know. Ben Connolly is coming. He's an author. He's going to be a guest speaker here at the temple, and that's October 8th in the evening, I believe a weeknight. Go ahead. Is that good? Do you know some more about it than I can relay?
There's flyers on the table in the foyer for
Oh.
people who want to read more about it.
Right. And a good point too, we have a lot of sign-up sheets out there on the table. We have a few flyers to take, including one of these for the fall period. And lastly, we have coming up a New Year's Eve service, December 31st here. And now you are up to date. And oh, go ahead.
I'd like to announce that our Dharma Master, I'd like to announce that our Dharma Master, who's the head of our organization, he is usually in Mexico City, is going to be with us for a couple of weeks in October. So he'll be at Sunday services. He'll be part of the retreat that we're offering. So I invite everybody to come and be around the temple as much as possible while he's here, so he can get to know us and we can get to know him. Yeah. And the second thing is that music is so good for the soul, I think. And over the years, we've had choirs and no choirs and then more choirs. And we're starting one up this first Sunday next month, October. Joshua, he's a wonderful conductor and choir master, is going to be leading it. And it'll be before Sunday services. So just come about an hour early, learn the song for the week, and then sing it, and we all sing it. So there's a sign-up sheet in the foyer. And can you just sing us one little song? When we were in Korea together, we went around, and Jagwa is such a good singer. So I would say, could you please sing here now?
I can't think of it. Do you have any requests? I can't think of any of the songs.
How about No Coming, No Going?
Okay. I know that one. No coming, no going, no after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be so free, because I am in you and you are in me. Because I am in you and you are in me. No coming, no going, no after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be so free, because I am in you and you are in me. Because I am in you and you are in me.
Well done, very well done. Thank you. And after our Together Action next Saturday, one of our Together Action folks, he's a guitarist and plays with a bunch of young guys in cafes and various places. And he's got some songs that he's preparing. One of them is, "It's only a paper moon hanging over a cardboard sea," which is one of them. But so we're going to do the work, and then we're going to have a snack, and then Mark's going to play the guitar and offer some singing. So you're welcome for all of it, of course, all the time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And let me just say too, that's Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. here, more or less all around here.
And the temple is supported by your kind donations of money and time. That's what the Together Action is.
True.
For money, you'll see a fishbowl just as you leave the temple on your left. And for time, there are opportunities all around you, but there is Together Action on Saturday. Please stand, and as you stand, smooth down your mat and fluff up your cushion. And the mats that are